Okay, welcome everybody. I'm so happy that you're all here. Thank you for coming. This is an introduction to the Generative Business Pods, and the topic this particular round of the pods is the being the gift of profit. And I know, there are people that have because we do these, I tend to do these free calls I think pretty much every time we're starting a new round of pods. So I know people love these calls and they come on them and stuff. So some of you guys have done them with me for a long time, which is cool. And there are people that have also done the business pods for a long time, which is really cool as well. So what part of what I want to do in this call is just, share some about the program and what it is and how it works. And, we have some people here that have been in the program, the Business Pods. It's been going for 11 years, like pretty much constantly, because I can't get enough of it. And I also would like to kind of give a little overview of the topic, which is being the gift of profit, which I just today was like, I don't really know about the words with this one because it's such an energetic thing. So we'll see where we go. But I've had some things kind of percolating. And so for those of you who don't know, the Generative Business Pods is a 6-month program. It's like a creation space that is really, really freaking cool. And it always ends up being just a beautiful group of people that are very interested in deep diving into a different space of creation, where they want to be more and create from being more. So you don't really have to have a business. I mean, for me, business is your whole life and living. And there's people that have done it and that do it that don't have a technical business. And there are people that do have, quote unquote businesses. It's really, to me, I started it when I did. I had no idea that it would just keep going and going. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And I invited some people and they were all like, yes, And then I invited some more people and they were all like, yes. And then I was like, well, I don't want to stop now. So it just has been this thing that just keeps going, keeps asking to be created. And it's been a massive contribution to me because I created it because I was like, I really love to be in this like ongoing conversation of creation with the tools of access consciousness and like living the tools and being the tools and creating from being, knowing, perceiving, and receiving, creating from question, choice, possibility, contribution, chaos. And I was like, I would love to have a conversation that I could be part of around that on a very regular basis with a group of people where we could just dive in. And so I kind of selfishly created it and I continue to because I love it. So I'm always like, I don't care if anybody signs up, I'm going to do it. So I do. And, people join. So it's great. And it always ends up being this really cool, like the group just, it's always exactly who needs to be there. And it turns into this beautiful group of creatures that are very interested in having each other's backs, supporting each other, supporting their creative wins, and contributing through the not so great moments, and but always exploring the possibility in everything, no matter how, something may seem shitty, which we all have that. And it's been there's been like a big dose of extra shitty the past 5 years for a lot of people. And I'm here to say the time has come. For me, I'm like, yeah, it's time for something different. And I do really have a sense that it's showing up. This is a different moment. So, first of all, congratulations. We made it through probably some of the rough years that, many of us will experience in our lifetimes. And that may or may not be the case for you, but, um, big global shifts, big economic shifts, big everything shifts. And for me, like, I really have a sense that there is a lot of lightness, expansiveness, miraculousness that is here. And it can be very easy to, I have definitely gone there many times to be like, is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to change? Like, I know we always talk about possibility, and I'm good with that. And like, when's the possibility going to get here? So anywhere that any of us have been, just like, what the hell, waiting, and any creations that you have diminished with the kind of like wondering if it's ever going to happen kind of a thing. Can we please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, all 100 POC pod shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyond. So that's in case you don't know access consciousness, that's the clearing statement. It just deletes a bunch of stuff. It's amazing, super powerful. You can go to theclearingstatement.com if you want to know what it is and how it works, but you don't even have to know anything about it. It just works. It's like hitting the delete button on your computer, emptying the trash. Bye. It's gone. If you're willing for it to be that easy. And that's the thing is for me, the exploring, one of the things I've realized over the past 15 years of facilitating access consciousness is that uh, having ease as a reality requires an enormous amount of courage and willingness to be different. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, he did a call one time called "Ease is So Hard." And I think there's some truth to that. I mean, not really, but like it can feel like that at times, but we don't, when you're functioning from your feelings, there's a lot of that, which isn't so fun. But ease is when it doesn't seem like that, right? It seems like, well, if it's ease, like you should just have ease, but everything in the world is designed to keep you from it and distract you away from it. And, like show you all the structures that you should be, hanging your hat on, so that you don't have ease, but so that you are like everybody else and you can make sure that you get it right someday, maybe, So all of that is everywhere you're like, someday maybe I'll get it right. We destroy and uncreate all of that because you're never going to get it right. That's the beauty of you. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, POC pod shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. And one of the things that I've seen so much with myself and other people is that there's this beautiful space that we can choose and we can be that is about really, truly the adventure of it all. And if you commit to not finding the wrongness with stuff, and not looking to get it right, and not judging you and not judging what's showing up or not showing up. If you really commit to that, you will become more and more miraculous every day. And this is where, to me, one of the things I love about how the business pods is organized is it's for people that are asking, having those big asks, of like, okay, time to get even more miraculous, there's always more. And, uh, and you're with this posse of peeps, this group of people. It's not like a support group, like I would never do a support group. Like that's just bleh, it's like sitting around like validating everybody else's stuff. We don't do that. But it's like people that are like, yeah, I was really magical today, and they can share it in their little Telegram chat, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's amazing, And so it's like this place where you actually get to have people that celebrate you as the magician that you are. And one of the things that I've seen that is so clear to me more and more all the time is that if you acknowledge what it is, that those moments of miraculousness that are so energetic, they don't necessarily actualize into, reality right away. But if you are willing to continually acknowledge those spaces and what you're being that's different, if that's what you're committed to, again, instead of the judgment that most of us learn to function from and have kind of a hard time letting go of, um, that is one of the biggest things that you can choose for the creation of a miraculous life and business and living, is the continual acknowledgement of you as a different creature, as an energetic creature, as somebody who knows something different, as somebody who is something different. And the pods is about facilitating you to discover the uniqueness of you as a being who is here with this body at this time on this planet, creating something unique, and to empower you to do that in the only the way that you can, only the way that you can. So I'm never going to give you answers. I don't even know how to do that anymore. I've lost that. I've lost the ability to do that. I will, however, give you questions, and I will always be there to be curious with you about what's right about you and what's right about everything that you're creating. And the thing that I've seen over and over again by doing this with people for 6 months, and some people stay for years, and keep going with it, they want to just keep going, So the one thing that I've seen is that if you really stay with that space with yourself, your life, your reality, your business, it will become miraculous. Sometimes it takes a long time, and then we're like, God damn it, but it's, we're never as fucked up as we think we are. That's the good news, and neither is our business, the business of our life. So that's kind of the energy of the pods in general, like the space of it. And how we organize it, it's different every time, but this particular one is going to be, we have group calls where, similar to this, where everybody comes on, we go, we talk about some sort of topic, or, you know, we dive into exploring something around the energetics of creation. And I am, I've hosted a lot of classes with the, Gary, Douglas, and Dane here. And so I'm always bringing all kinds of new stuff, because I'm always in those conversations, which is fun. It's very fun to I always love to get new tools and then just immediately get my hands on them and be like, okay, and share them with people. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is so cool. So there's a lot of evolution that goes on. And so we have the group calls that are like the big group, and then we have the pod calls, which are so fun and so miraculous. And those are small group calls there's 5 people, usually on a pod call. And everybody comes and they bring their question, like, or questions about whatever it is that they're creating, and it could be just be a question about creation in general, or, whatever. And those calls are really cool. It's like everybody gets like a little mini private session in a way, but everybody's listening. So the conversation just like grows and expands and grows and expands, and really cool. So you get one of those every month, being in the pods, and then you get to listen to all of them. So you get the recordings of all of them. Usually there's 3 to 4 every month. It depends on the size of the group. So and then what I'm going to do this time, everybody gets 2 half-hour private sessions with me. And then what I'm going to do this time I've never done before, I'm really excited, is actually bring in the body. So really, really bring in some specific energetic exercises. So we're going to have one call a month that's like an energetic exploration of how your body contributes to creation, which is one of my favorite topics. And something I just have really been giving myself a lot of play to explore a lot more than I was really allowing myself to. I explore it in my own way all the time, but I wasn't really bringing it to my classes and my, whatever, until the past like year and a half or so. So there's going to be a dedicated energetic call every month to really include your body. And I do a lot of bonuses too. There's a lot of giveaway, just in like daily programs that I do, like energetic stuff. That's all. I throw stuff in all the time, bonus stuff. So, one of the things that with this topic of being the gift of profit, that because so profit from an access consciousness sort of perspective, profit is way more than the money left over after the expenses. A lot of you guys have heard this conversation if you've been tapped into this, in any way. Profit is way, way, way more than, do I have money? Am I in the black? And it includes that, of course, but profit is really the generation and creation of a greater future for everybody. And everybody dynamically includes you. So, and that's the one place where a lot of us kind of tend to forget, is to put, and there's this beautiful way in which when you really put yourself front and center in your own life, everybody around you gets contributed to so much more, so much more. And this is where the body can really come in and remind us, hey, can you please care for me and you, and when we do, there's a lot of miraculousness and that shows up because we are not taught, educated, encouraged, shown how to beautifully, graciously, dynamically care for ourselves. And how on earth are we going to create a better future if we're not doing that? That just doesn't, it doesn't equate, I don't usually look for equations to work out, but in this sense, it doesn't, So we got to put ourselves front and center in our own lives, prioritizing the things that we desire, prioritizing our bodies is very, very helpful. And really getting clear on what it is that you would like to create. Because if you're doing stuff for other people, or you're, trying to kind of reach some ideal that, somebody has taught you is valuable to you, but it's not, anything that you're asking for that isn't really true for you, it's not going to show up. And that's, I think, one of the most beautiful, like, safety valves, let's say, in creation and the energetics of creation. It's beautiful. It's so elegant. It can be really frustrating, But it's so elegant because if we are trying to create something that we don't genuinely desire, we won't. How cool is that? Like it just won't show up, you know? And I just think that's amazing. And so sometimes we have to look and go, well, maybe I don't actually desire this, or maybe there's other stuff in the way. So part of the process, part of the conversation is the clarity of what you desire and having that as an evolutionary exploration for you. So what I mean by that is that what we desire is never fixed. And this to me is a big one because how do you create in physical reality with never having a fixed end goal or a fixed desire when it always evolves? Well, that's called being a humanoid, which are the seekers of the world, if you haven't heard that term. So there's a completely different, and we call it actually the realms of creation. We had a beautiful class on that in December, really life-changing. And so you have to function from the realms of creation if you are somebody who has an ever evolving space of what it is that you desire and awareness of a future and awareness of possibilities. Now, not only do you have that as ever evolving, but the world is ever evolving as well. So to me, it's like I feel like I get like a PhD in the energetics of creation like every year, with access, because it's such a completely different way of functioning, way of creating. And honestly, I've been using these tools for 15 years, and I actually feel like in the past week, something major has changed for me where I'm like, oh my goodness, finally there's some movement in these places where I felt like there wasn't movement. And I've done, every maestro class and, like I'm in a lot of classes. I do a lot of exploring. I live this stuff. I really do live these tools. And so when you would like to truly create with the realms of creation, know how to create an ever evolving future that continues to stay relevant to you and exciting for you, you have to function really differently than the rest of the world. And, I even went out, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and I was like, I'm going to do this other business program. I did this other business program, and it was somebody the other day actually asked me about it because it was a year-long thing, totally not related to access, incredibly structured. And they were like, did you get anything out of that? And I was like, yeah. Do you know what I got out of it? Knowing that these tools are fucking gold. They're not even gold. They're like rarer than gold. They're just so precious to me, you know. And so I had to go spend a whole lot of money and a time and blah to do this thing that everybody else loves, and come back and go, this, this is true, what's true for me. And that's not the case for everybody, and that's okay. But if it is for you, and you would like to be a powerful, dynamic, effective creator of your own life, of like everything you're asking for, of your future, of a different future on the planet with a lot of ease and joy and glory. It's like you got to commit to, in whatever way you can, to whatever extent you can, the long game of the energetics of creation. And there's a lot of unlearning that has to happen. And I mean, I know everybody here, I can look at you guys, it's like we all have done a lot of the unlearning, and there's always more. And that doesn't mean that you're not completely capable and powerful right now. That's the beauty of it, is we just become more powerful, more capable, more aware. We have more ease, we have more relaxation, And with that comes more money, more joy, more growth of our businesses and our lives and everything that we're asking for. So when I look at this like exploration for this next round, which is being the gift of profit, and the topic of the pods, it always just kind of comes. I just always go, what do you want to be? You know, and then it sort of just at some point it just shows up, and there may be some extrapolation with my team and we bounce things around, and so this one really was like, yeah, that. And so I've been exploring it since it revealed itself to me, like, I don't know, in January or maybe even the end of December. I don't know. It was kind of early this time. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks. Sometimes it's like, we need a name, This time it was like, oh, I'll tell you right now what I'm going to be. So, I've been exploring it in my own world, and it's been really contributing dynamically. And one of the things that just really popped for me is when I was like, what is being the gift of profit? And I just, this was like, I don't know, today or yesterday. I just got this sense of like the word grace. And that I was like, oh, that's cool. It really like it melted me, It was like, being the gift of profit is being that which creates a greater future. And there will be people that will tell you that you're not doing that and you're doing the opposite, you're ruining their lives or whatever, all of that is par for the course. But when you're willing to have such a sense of you, such a depth of intimacy with you, which is the intimacy with you is a big part of the business pods. It's because to me, it's absolutely critical for creative ease and possibilities. Like if you don't have intimacy with you, if you don't not willing to be vulnerable, have gratitude, trust you, honor you, and be an allowance of you. Those are the 5 elements of intimacy and access. If you're not willing to have those with you, you will never know what you truly desire. You will never know what you know, which is your greatest wealth for how to create what it is that you desire. You will never trust you to make choices that match what you know. And, making choices that match the energy of what we know is a huge part of the process. And most of the time, those choices are not logical. I was like, I mean, even like I was booking some flights this morning and I was like, it was so clear, like this one, this flight, this time, this price. Oh, it's $200 more than the other one. Nope, do it, book it, you know? And I always listen. Now I just go, I know to trust what's late. I know that if I follow what is late for me, what's showing up, I know it's going to yield so much greater. And for me, it's like prioritizing that. And that's, such a different way of functioning that, oh, beautiful. Maria says, I'm just realizing there are changes I need to make in my life. Cool. Like what an adventure, It's like, I mean, those moments where it's like, man, I've actually been there. So I'm going to go total squirrel mode on you guys right now and shift to that because that's an important piece I want to mention. When you get to that moment, I had a moment. I've had some moments where it was like I need to make some changes, and then also some like that translated into like me making a demand that I hadn't been willing to make of myself before. And then all these things start to show up. It's beautiful, the elegance of it. Uh, but when we don't go to the wrongness of it, when you're like, okay, I need to make some big changes, it would be so easy to be like, my life is so fucked up and it's not working and blah, but that's human reality. Human reality is If something's wrong, then you change it. But if it's not wrong, don't change it. Why would you change it? Change is bad. Like only change when you really have to, you know? And then in come the humanoids who are like, I like to change like every day, like so many times, you know? When I was a kid, I changed my clothes like 6 times a day because I was like, well, it's time for a new outfit, you know? And I was always like, judged for that. It's like, oh, she's changed her clothes again. I'm like, yeah, like now I gotta wear this. Like I got so many fabulous things. Like I gotta wear them. But there's all these little things like that we get so judged for. And then it becomes part of our world. And it's like, oh, I can't change too much. Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm changing. No, fuck that. Don't ever apologize for changing you or anything. Uh, so when we have that moment of like, okay, there's some big changes that need to be made. What if it was awesome? I'm so grateful for me that I'm willing to acknowledge that. I'm so grateful for me that I'm willing to choose that. I'm so excited to see what shows up now. I'm a little terrified, but maybe excited, not so much terrified. Who knows? But and then probably what will happen is if you really choose it, you may get really uncomfortable, which is always a great sign. I was the most uncomfortable I've been in my life so far about 4 days ago. I was like absolutely crawling out of my skin. I was just like, oh my God, because I had chosen some big stuff, energetic stuff. It's, and when I talk about choice, sometimes it's like a thing that you're choosing, but this was just like energies that I had shifted, and committing to being more present and committing to all these energetic changes that I know, because to me, you be more, your whole life will grow, your business will grow. That's all you really have to do is just commit to being more. And that's a Dane Heer quote. If you want your business to grow, commit to being more every day. And so I heard that and I was like, all right, I'm in you know and that's what I do, and that's a lot of what the pods is based around, is that acknowledgement. You be more, you will receive more, your business will grow. You don't have to figure out how to get your business to grow. You just be more and it will. So then that becomes the adventure of living and the adventure of creation. Now, you being more, what gift is that to a greater future? The profit, the profitability of a greater future that creates profitability for you, for everybody, that is, financial and all the things, and having the grace to move with the elegance of it. Consciousness is so incredibly elegant. It's so elegant. It is us and our minds that get in the way. When you give up your mind, when you give up your judgment, when you stop making anything a problem and you're like, all right, here we go. I'm committing to this. I'm committing to getting out of judgment of me, getting out of judgment of my life, and acknowledging how great I am right here, right now, and being curious about what else is possible. That is so fucking simple and so powerful. And the reason I love I mean, there's a million reasons, but one of the things that I really love about the format of the pods is that it's this group of mutants, crazy, wonderful, unique creatures that come together that are like, yeah, let's do this. And it's not going to show up the same for everybody. It's going to show up in a very different way for each person. And the journey, you get to really see the journey that people go through. And it's such a contribution to your journey, because that's how consciousness works. Everything is a contribution to what else you can choose and create. And when we put ourselves in the movement of that, in the slipstream of that, it's so incredible what actually shows up. So there's at least a couple, I don't know, I don't see, I'm not looking on the other screen, but of people here that have been in the pods. that have offered to just kind of share their experience. I mean, there's people here that have been in the pods a long time ago, like Jasmine. It was so nice to see you pop in, and then people that just were in the last one that we did. And I also, so I want to open it up for them to speak, and then also if you guys have questions. So let's start with some questions, and then yeah, we can do that. Like just kind of let them share if anybody has questions. Okay. Rahel?
Hi. My
Hi.
question is like I get stuck in modes of either desperate for help for myself or really just only wanting to help someone else. I'm just wondering how the program addresses that.
Well, yeah. So what I will say is the program addresses what you are asking for, and it does it in a few ways. So I'm going to make this really applicable to like everybody that does it, because that's the beauty of it and the elegance of it is whatever you're asking for, it goes into the mix of the energies of the pot, of the business pods. And it really is like the generative part of it is like so spot on. It has such a generative energy to it. Like people sign up and their life just starts to take off. It's really cool. I've seen that so many times. It's so freaking cool. So you get to be part of this like thrum and this movement and this generative energy that is just like gifting to you and everything that you're asking for. And what you're asking for goes into the space as well as with any class. Like it just goes into the space and it starts to like it'll influence what comes out of my mouth, even if I don't know what you're asking for specifically. It contributes, right? And then you have private sessions, 2 private sessions, and then you also have the small group pod calls where you would come and bring something, a question like that, or whatever you're looking at, and then we start to explore it, and I give you some kind of more pointed facilitation for you that's applicable to other people as well. And if it's really super, super personal, then you would take it to a private session. But then, it just kind of everything just kind of like builds on itself, So whatever it is that you're asking for, it goes into the mix really in such a beautiful way. So
Is it what the person's asking for consciously or subconsciously as well?
all of it. Yeah. We don't have to work so hard to try to figure it all out. Yeah. So thank you for your question. Anybody else have a question? Cool. Well, I know Layal and Lucia are here. Patty's here as well. Um, who else? Not everybody could, like Prisa is off camera now, but I don't see anybody else popping out right now. But anyway, do uh, any of you guys want to share just so people can like hear about your experience of being in the pods?
Yes, 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 yes. So I was like magically guided to the pods. I didn't know about them previously with you. And then it I was starting my own business. And even though like from this reality points of view that I'm a JCF, a Joy of Business Facilitator, I should know it all and I should be right and on on the dot. And then I asked a question whether this would contribute to the creation of my restaurant. And then I asked another question is would this be like leading me to know more of me, to have more of me? And then you asked a question is, are you willing to go alone? In the taster, actually. And yes, if you're willing, I would say to everyone, if you're willing to go alone and yet be nurtured, nourished, fulfilled, really fulfilled, like, having a wholesome, delicious meal, because I'm a cook, that's the business pods. You get to be engulfed in that energy where you're not right, you're not wrong, but rather empowered to be, empowered to be in every which way. And I got to know more, much more than just business. It wasn't business.
Yeah. It's
It was
creation
me.
and being and yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
And
cool.
it's totally a journey of discovery. And I loved it. So of course, I joined the next one.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Leah. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Hey Heather, could I pop in quick before I head
Yes.
out?
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be my sixth round of the pods, which is
Wow.
like, oh my God. I remember the very first round that I did. I went through this old note in my phone of just like random asks that I had, and joining the pods was in there. And so many other things had actualized since that choice of joining the pods. And it was just so incredible to look at. And I mean, for me, the pods is this space where like I know that I have my own back and
Mm.
everyone else does. And it's just so unique and so different than anything else I've ever experienced of like that I would have called it peace before, but that word that you said today of grace, like that is so much more congruent of like there's this elegance and joy with everyone in the group and our creations and everything just thrives. And it's I also like I grow so much from it too. And it's just like it gets uncomfortable for me at times with all the things that I'm asking for, but in such this generative way, like that I am asking for so much more of. And yeah, I just absolutely love it and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you. Lucia?
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, I'm just so full of gratitude here. Ooh, I can barely talk. I barely have the words. And I actually was thinking today, like, okay, I knew I was going to come and talk and give a little testimonial, and I was like, I have no idea what to say. But I can say that I just completed, I think it was my fifth one with you, because I started in August of 2022. It's been 2.5 years. And it's like, oh my goodness. And my life is like so drastically different than it was back then. I mean, I can't even verbalize all of the changes, and it would take 5-10 hours to do so. And I've had so much support from the different groups and from Heather throughout the whole process. And it's been an opportunity to continually get support for being as different and outrageous as I am, and like to really be okay with that, and I always have been just the weirdest one in the group. No matter what group I'm in, I'm the weirdest one. And here I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I just get to be me. And things are like things are coming out of the woodwork, out of the blue, so to speak, that I'm haven't even verbally asked for, like. So I moved from California to Scotland a couple of years ago. How about that? As we do, right? At the age of 70, as we do. It's like, oh yeah, sure, why not? 5 heavy
Just started a
suitcases,
new life.
like, all right. Um, Pursuing a life as an artist here, a performer, involved in a performing community. Somebody said to me the other day, oh yeah, you're one of the in group now.
That's
part of
hilarious.
the senior LGBT community over here. And the other day I was at an event, a senior LGBT cultural event, and out of the blue, I was telling somebody about some of my current creative endeavors, and he offered me some funding. Just, I didn't even know that they had any to offer. I'm like, oh my goodness, there it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Here's some
amazing.
funding for you. I was like, thanks, awesome. And an opportunity to teach some of my work. So things are just coming now, and they are old, I mean, old big asks, and they're showing up without even my having to focus in on it at this point. So hey,
Amazing.
how's it get better? So
That's so
I
cool.
don't know what else.
Thank you so
I don't
much.
know what
Yeah,
else to
that's
tell you.
great.
If you want a space, I guess if you want a space to dive into whatever it is, like, I'm so-called retired, quote unquote, air quotes, I'm retired. So I didn't have a business to think about, but I had my life to think about. And my business is creating a new life in a new land. And that's what I've been doing. And it's been very difficult at times, but I've gotten just a wonderful amount of support from everybody in the group, and Heather in particular. So go us.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. And I am really kind of weird in this way that I love like being with people through things like this and just like being in their world and contributing to them like over time, which I think is probably why I just keep doing this program because I love seeing people like those minute choices that they make and awarenesses that they have and then like how that shows up in their future, and getting to be there in the future to see. It's so cool. I really geek out on seeing people thrive with creation and know that they actually can create whatever it is that they desire and that they have everything that they require for it. It's just, it's one of the greatest gifts for me in my life. So I'm
I
grateful
want
that
to add, I'd like to add one thing, and that is I'm being with this gratitude, and it's such an unusual space for us
Mm,
on this planet in this moment of time today to have a space where you can be the most outrageous being that you really are, that you don't even know you are. And yet you have a space to do that here. And
yeah.
I have such gratitude for that.
Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah. And be celebrated, celebrated and also encouraged to use that because those are your superpowers. That's if we use those superpowers to create, then that's where Thrival really begins and continues. And it's just so different. So yeah. Any other questions or comments or anything from anybody? We start the official beginning is it's in I believe a week or I always forget the date. It
24th.
starts 24th.
24th.
Okay, so it starts on Monday. And there's space. We actually started a couple days ago. I'm doing this energetic series called Having the Courage to Live Beyond Fear. And it's been really cool. We started yesterday, I guess, actually. And that's included in the pods. And so that started yesterday. And then the pods itself starts on Monday. Daniel?
What have you like? My curiosity is like, what have you changed in your life, or what have you choice have you made recently that you never expected would change, or like anything that's like percolating in your world that's like just really different?
You know, I guess the thing that pops is I asked a question. I asked to let go of like I asked to be aware of and to choose to let go of all the stuff that I was never gonna let go of. It's a bit of a big ask be aware if you make it, because your whole life, if you're really willing to choose it, it'll turn some shit upside down. But it was it's yielding beautifully, dynamically. And that really is, I mean, for me, it's like when there are things and people that we're not willing to let go of, that's what stops us. And so that's one of the things. I mean, we stop us, but nobody else can stop you. You're the only one powerful enough to stop you. But we hold on to things and people and constructs and identities and whatever, and because we think we need it to be safe or whatever. And I've seen again and again and again that I tend to go after in my own world the things that I'm not willing to let go of, because I know if I do, it'll open up a creative space that I've never had before. Because you can't, there are choices that you can't make. If there's people you're holding on to, identities that you're holding on to, energies that you're holding on to, constructs that you're holding on to, anything like that. Could be even physical things like your house or whatever, anything that you're holding on to, if you need to have that person or thing or whatever, then there's a whole bunch of choices that you will never give yourself the permission to make that might threaten that. So you cut off all kinds of awareness and you cut off all kinds of choice by holding on to stuff. And when you let it go, you open up universes of new awareness, new being, new receiving, new choice that is pretty phenomenal. So yeah, that's one of my favorite tools. And the way that I asked it recently was in a very different way. I was like, okay, whatever I have decided is just like me. It's up for grabs now. Like, I don't need to be
Thank you.
anything. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for asking. It's a big one. Not everybody's going to want to ask that, and that's not wrong. I am just kind of I'm a tenacious motherfucker, and I'm willing to go alone for sure. So, yeah. So yeah, the program is, it starts Monday. I'll get to your question in one sec, Maria. It's $700 US a month. And you just set up like a recurring PayPal payment. I think it's 700, isn't it, Patty? Is it 700? Yeah. And then if you want to pay in full, it's $37.50. So it's less if you pay in full. And we had early registration where, like, if you pay in full, it was by, I think 5 days ago, you would get like a bonus private session with me. So I'm gonna reopen that to you guys for 24 hours. So if you pay in full, you get a third private session with me. And you guys are the only ones who are hearing about it because you're on the Zoom. So yeah, so the page that has the links to register is heathernichols.com/businesspods. Patty, can you put it in the chat and Telegram? And then Maria, did you have a question, or you just accidentally raised your hand? Or?
No, I just wanted to thank you. I was so drawn to attending this, and I attended at Al Lugar, the Gift of Profit, with Gary and Dane. And so it was like, I needed this review. Thank you. Like, just the way you put things and the way, like, you reminded me, like, there's a couple of things that I'm doing and I'm like, I don't really enjoy it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to do that anymore. But I'm like, no, but you can't you can't stop that. Then that looks like, you're studying or taking things that, anyways, so many things going on here. But so it was a beautiful, beautiful conversation and information you just really, 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 really sent out to me that I needed to hear. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Patty, I think it's heathernichols.com/businesspods is for the landing page that has both that's where that goes to the landing page that has the pay in full link and the monthly payment link. The GBP profit, I think that might just go to the pay in full. Is that, Lucia?
Yeah, I was wondering for everybody. So yesterday you started a 30-day process, which is included if you buy the GBP today and within the next 24 hours. How does one access that 30-day as well?
Oh, well, yeah, no, the 30-day living beyond fear is that's included in the business pods no matter when you sign up. So
Okay.
yeah. So if you sign up for the pods, we just add you to that automatically.
Okay, and so do you get an email with the special link to that?
Yeah,
The
you'll just be added to the class. So you'll get the email with all the Zoom links and the recordings and stuff right
Okay.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 24-hour thing right now is pay in full and you get a bonus private session with me for a 30-minute private session. So you'd have 3, and most people in the pods get 2. So if you pay in full, you get 3. So, yeah, so thank you all so much for being here, for being you. Yeah, that page, heathernichols.com/business pods is where you'll find everything. And we would love to have you come and play. It's really, I don't know anybody that's ever done it and regretted it. That's for sure. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Bye.